Today is February 19th, 2021, and I will be doing this video on ticker symbol LODE. I had this on my watch list because a couple days ago, on the 17th, it gapped up really high, but it just, it sold off. It sold off here and it sold off yesterday. But I was waiting for it to curl back up, and it looked like it was consolidating on the 5 minute. I mean, here's where it gapped up really high, and it just sold off pretty much the whole day. I mean, it did spike up a little bit, but yeah, it was just going down. But if you look at this action right here, this level, it started selling off, but it found some footing, it found some ground, and this got my eye because in pre-market, is pretty much holding those levels. It was holding those levels, and it looked like it had some real potential if it found decent support and stayed up above the VWAP. Um, it's a former runner, so whenever you get those stocks in the past that have gone up like parabolically, you want to find those again because they can do the same thing. But then they can also, sell off and you can make money on the short side too. But I got in here long at let's see here, at 10:05 at the price of 5.24. I got in right about here. I was pretty sure this was gonna break. I mean, it broken this level right here, and a lot of times when that happens and it stays above VWAP, and buyers are just stepping in, they're just getting greedy because they see it's got a lot of room to run. It'll just break through that level, and I got in here. I set my stop loss, probably about like 10 cents away. And I actually got stopped out like at 5.49 right here. What it could have done is it could have just shot up. I mean, it went in so fast. I mean, I got in at 10:05 and I got out at 10:09. So I was only in the trade maybe like 4 or 5 minutes, but it just gone up like so much that I don't want it to come back down and test this level, because you'll see that a lot of times. You'll see stocks, they'll break a level, then they'll come back down and test that level, then it bounce up and continue higher. It just went up so fast with this candle. I'm like, I just what I should have done is just set my stop loss. If I wanted to let it run a little bit, just set my stop loss, below this candle, and below this candle, then below this candle, then below that candle. And I could have really rode this all the way up until it broke the previous 1 minute candle's low. That's what I like to do a lot. I just like to write out trades, and as long as they're working until they're not working. If I would have just I made $240 on this trade, which is pretty good, and I had a risk of about 80 to $100 in the trade, and I made 240. So that's pretty good. That's 2.5 to 1, 3 to 1 or whatever. But if you just like, a lot of times you just write it up, be like, well, I'll put my stop loss. Let's say if I bought it here and I'm like, well, I just put my stop loss on the low of this candle. Okay. And I'll set my stop loss on the low of this candle. I'll set my stop loss at the low of this candle and this candle. And a lot of times you can just write it on the way up. And that's a really good way to see the trades. Especially with something moving so fast as this. I mean, sometimes you want to give something a lot of room to run. That's if the setup you think is going to take a lot of time to develop. But this is just popping up so fast that it can go parabolic real quick, but it can also roll over real fast. So you just got to be careful about that. A lot of times, the way I look at a trade, a lot of the times is, so a lot of times this area, if I think it's gonna pop back up and keep going, it'll mirror this, like right here. Like it'll, like if you placed a mirror, like if this continues up higher, a lot of times if like you placed a mirror like right here, it would look identical as this, or at least pretty close for the most part. And that happens a lot with parabolic stocks that'll just go up crazy, then it'll come down crazy. But if you place like, it would just, like, the middle of it would just mirror each side. So I kind of, you just gotta remember on how stocks acted in the past. They're probably gonna act like it again. And yeah, with this, it could have yeah, it could have tested this level again. It could have just, curled down, tested this level, bounced back up. And really, I don't want to give away all those gains. I mean, 240 bucks is pretty good. But if I would have just maybe, um, set my stop loss, just, not panic so much, but, just, okay, I'll set my stop loss and load this candle and then load this candle. Then maybe I'll add if it breaks, you know, this high right here. I'll add more if it breaks that, and look how much that just ran there. I would have made, $1,000 on that trade if I would have just, held it out and sold at the, obvious, like, perfect time, because I bought it at 524 and there's, 625 right there, so that's $1 and I had 1,000 shares. So, but you're never gonna get the top and the bottom, and you never really want to, because you don't really know what's gonna happen. People that try to pick bottoms, they're normally the ones to just just keep bottoming out. Because if you, like, let's say if I seen this like rolling over and just keep going down, I'm like, it's bottomed out, it just keeps going down. If you look at a chart of like a stock that's just consistently going down, you could anywhere along that chart say, well, this is the bottom, well, this is the bottom, well, this is the bottom, and it just keeps going down, but it's just that trend just keeps going in the same direction. The way I normally look for my stocks to trade, I go to finviz.com, and this is a free website, and they have a lot of cool tools for free. There's a paid service on it too, and they give you a few more things. I've never actually paid for it, but I just use the free version, and it's great. I love it. I go to the top gainers. Let's see, close this. I usually look at stocks over a couple bucks. Current volume over 1 million. I always do, over 1 million and over a couple of dollars. Just, I have better luck with stocks that are over a couple bucks. If it seems like if it's under $2, I have trouble, understanding the risk to reward on it, and it just feels more comfortable. They move more how I like. So, but yeah, I look at these, and I write every symbol down, and every day, probably about each day, I do the top gainers and top losers, and I kind of keep them on hand. Let's say you seen this stock like shoot up this day, then it go down this day, then if it started to bounce like right here, you're like, well, it could bounce. It's got some room. It's a former runner. You at least have it on hand, because there's so many stocks. You're not going to be able to just pinpoint, whatever you want. Sometimes moves are setting up, and it's hard to screen the stocks that are setting up, that are getting ready to rip, because it's something you just have to train your eyes to do. But yeah, I put then I go to top losers also, because these are typically, the most volatile. So they're gonna. I like to see stocks that are swinging big in one direction and the other direction and this direction, and kind of like pick my spots in there. Um, and you can kind of see potential too. Like, okay, this stock, went down 11% this day. Okay, this candle, let's say that's the red part is 11%. Well, and you look at that in comparison to some of the other candles. I mean, crap, this green candle, that's like double or triple that. So that it really took off that day, but you can tell that this stock likes to move up and down. And you can kind of do that like 10%. This moved 10%. This candle moved 10%. So yeah, it's extremely volatile. Um, but yeah, that's how I like to look and find my stocks. I make a list of the top losers and the top gainers each day that have a current volume of over $1 million and that are in over $2 in price. And that kind of, I can go through the list. And what I usually do is, if I'm getting ready to trade a day, I'll look at my list for the last 3 days, and I'll see if there's anything that's really like setting up and getting ready to run. But but yeah, that's just how I do it. I made some money on this trade, but I could have made a lot more. But that's not how you should look at it. Um, well, give me a like. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you again. Bye.